Hello, and welcome once again to another nice. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Alrighty, peeps. Remember, the purpose of this podcast is to get you ready for the FCAT in April so you can do your best and you aren't epic fail. All right, this podcast is going to be on problem number 9 from your FCAT review. Remember, the first thing you're going to do on the FCAT is to stop and read the problem. Red light, stop, read the problem. A farmer needs to calculate the number of cubic yards in 837 cubic feet of soil. How many cubic yards are equivalent to 837 cubic feet? For those curious minds out there, when you see this symbol on the FCAT, that's going to tell you it's going to be an answer that requires you to grid the answer in. This means you're going to have to grid the answer in. No multiple guess. I'm sorry, I meant no multiple choice on this one. All right, next thing you're going to do in the FCAT, yellow light, stop, slow down, look for important information. So if you would, either underline or circle number of cubic yards in 837 cubic feet of soil. Also, if you would, either underline, circle, box a question. How many cubic yards are equivalent to 837 cubic feet? And I'm just going to, in the podcast here, put an arrow to cubic and cubic because those are going to be huge, Caroline. Huge. And helping us solve the problem. BRB. Alrighty, so we've done red light, stop, read the problem. Yellow light, slow down, circle, underline, box, important information. Green light, we're going to go and work the problem. But before we go and work the problem, we're going to hop into our time machine and travel back all the way to chapter 1. So strap yourself in and let's go back in time. Oh, alright. Well, I guess it really didn't take us back in time, but it sure looked cool and sounded good. All the way back to in chapter 1, I know. It was sometime last year. Ha ha ha. Sorry, I like using that joke. All the way back in chapter 1, we talked about square units and cubic units. We said if it was a square unit, it was like twins. We also said back in chapter 1, if it was cubic units, they were like triplets. So I want to know how many cubic yards are there in 837 cubic feet. So I'm just going to do the commutative property here because I like to have my question mark or what I'm solving for on the right side of my problem. So now I'm just going to say commutative property says 837 cubic feet is how many cubic yards? Well, back in chapter 1 we said cubic was like triplets. So that tells me I'm either going to do division triplets or multiplication triplets. So I'm going to have two choices. I'm either going to go big to small, which I multiply, or I'm going to go small to big, which means I divide. So let's see what's going on. We're trying to figure out 837 cubic feet is how many cubic yards. So we have our feet. Oh, wait, sorry. Wrong kind of foot. There we go. We got a ruler. And we have a yardstick. We have a yardstick. So, visual people, you should be able to see I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Or I'm going from a small unit to a big unit. So, remember, small to big, you're going to divide. Small to big, you're going to divide. How can you remember that in the FCAT? Stretch your arms out real wide. Don't poke the person next to you in the eyes because that'd be minus big points for your group. And if you open your arms, stretch them out to the side, it looks like a fraction bar. Small to big, we're going to divide. So we are going to do division triplets. We are dividing because we're going from a small unit to a big unit. And we're going to divide 3 times because we have this unit cubic. Cubic is like triplets. There are 3 of them. So I'm going to take 837. Where'd you get that from, Mr. Phillips? I got it from right here in the problem. We said we're going to divide because we're going from a small unit to a big unit. And we're going to divide by 3. Where'd you get the 3 from, Mr. Phillips? Good question, but you should have asked it sooner for your plus 10. You waited too long. Remember, on the FCAT, you're going to have a reference sheet. On the reference sheet, I found 1 yard is 3 feet. So this is why I am dividing by 3. So I'm going to do 837 divided by 3. Please do it on your paper. That's going to give you 279. Now, we said this was a grid question, which we're going to grid it in just a second, but you have to be very careful on the FCAT. Because if it was a multiple guess, I'm sorry, my bad, MB. If it was a multiple choice on the FCAT, then a lot of you would stop right here and you would pick 279 because that would be a distractor or tricky answer. Remember, since we're doing cubic units, I'm doing triplets. So that means I'm really going to have to divide 3 times. Triplets, I'm going to have to divide 3 times. So I divide it once here, I divide it twice here, I divide it a 3rd time here. So on your paper you're going to have 837 divided by 3, the answer. Divided by 3, the answer. Divided by 3, 1, 2, 3 times. Triplets. Bada bing, bada boom. My perfect answer is 31. Notice the distractors. If you stopped after dividing just once, or 1 time, you would have said the answer was 279 and been tricked. If you had stopped after dividing twice or 2 times, you also would have been tricked if you had picked 93. And this one, nice, you should have said it earlier though, that's a nonsense answer because it's so much larger than the other ones. Or if you had done the problem 837 times 3, you would have gotten D. So the correct answer is 31. Small to big, divide. Divide 3 times because the unit is cubic. Triplets. If for some reason the unit was square, then you would either divide or multiply 2 times for square units. Alrighty, I do believe Cookie Monster is going to help us out again today. And Cookie Monster is telling you that we need to grid the answer in for problem number 9. You have 2 choices. You can put 31 all the way against, not in, but all the way against the negative part on your grid. Or you can take 31 and put it all the way to the end or the right-hand side. Both answers are acceptable. Don't forget to grid in one of these choices, they're both right, and bubble in the appropriate numbers below. If you guys would, please put your packet back on your counter, return your iPod so we can continue marching on lesson 6.3. See ya. Wouldn't wanna be ya. Later. Goodbye. Come on, let's go. We've got things to do.